Welcome to Gillette Stadium after the Patriots take care of business 23-3 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday afternoon. I'm Mike Petraglia, joined as always by Patriots expert columnist Christopher Price of WEEI.com. Chris, again, it seems like this is a broken record. Not pretty, especially in the first quarter when the Patriots were trailing 3-0. The offense and Tom Brady couldn't get out of its own way. Then they turned on a switch and everything got better after the first quarter.
On both sides of the ball, I think they got a really good offensive performance through the second and third quarters there. Brady was able to find Kenbrell Tompkins for a pair of touchdowns. They were able to do a really good job also down the stretch chewing up some clock. I thought that was a huge thing there in the fourth quarter with LeGarrette Blount. They also got some good defense. You know, we saw a pick by Talib. They were able to get good, consistent work on third down. They were able to get off the field on third down and fourth down. It all adds up to some pretty good complementary football and another win for New England.
Why do you think Tom Brady struggled in the first quarter so badly?
I think it's just, that's a great question. I don't know. I think some of it is just kind of getting into a rhythm of the game. I think some of it has to do with all these new receivers, all these new elements, and kind of finding a rhythm with each other. And I think they were able to do that, though. They were able to pick it up in the second quarter. They were able to pick it up in the third, and they were able to kind of pull away in the end.
Kenbrell Tompkins with 2 touchdowns in that 17-point second quarter, 2 touchdown catches from Tom Brady. After the game, he was, as you would expect, very humble as a rookie, and that is the Patriot way after all. But after the game, he was talking about the system worked. We were able to find gaps over the zone we knew coming in. Again, a sign of the Patriots' great preparation that the Buccaneers would probably drop 2 safeties deep. There would be gaps to be taken advantage of over the middle.
You mentioned that, too, a couple of times during the game on Twitter. You were very pointed about the fact that there's some areas there that they can work with. There's some open areas of real estate. As good as that Tampa Bay secondary is, they leave some holes in that area, and the Patriots were able to find some of those holes. And I think maybe going back to the question before, maybe that's one of the things they were able to do. They were able to diagnose some of the problems. They were able to spot some of those deficiencies in that Tampa Bay defense, and they took advantage of it.
Brandon Bolden also spoke after the game. I thought he had one of the more unsung performances of this game. Converted a couple of third down opportunities with running and caught a couple of passes from Tom Brady. He did, however, admit to stopping right down the sideline here on a deep route that Tom Brady threw him. There was a penalty on the play. He stopped running, which is obviously a big no-no. But overall, Brandon Bolden said it was great to get back into the contact of running, getting hit, and delivering a hit.
It was really interesting because, first of all, on that play right over there, he said he was a bit hard-headed. And he owned up to it. He said, I was the one at fault. Don't blame anyone else. I was the one that should be blamed for something like that. So I thought that was interesting. 2, I think it was really interesting to see him out here on special teams. I think he brings something to the special teams unit that we necessarily haven't seen before. No Matthew Slater out there today. I think he stepped in and did some of the same things that Slater did. He didn't work on that gunner role, but he did some of the same things that Slater was able to bring to the field. He did some of those as well. I also think, frankly, you're getting a guy who had more than 100 yards from scrimmage when you're talking about both running the ball and catching the ball. You don't have a real multi-dimensional threat other than Shane Vereen. When you're talking about guys in the backfield who can do something like that, wouldn't be surprised to see his role maybe expanded going forward.
Obviously, a lot of people are going to look at the Patriots' 3-0 record. They're 3-0 for the first time since the undefeated regular season of 2007. And they're going to say, well, you beat E.J. Manuel of the Bills on the road, you beat Geno Smith, and you beat Josh Freeman. Not exactly 3 world beaters as quarterbacks. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
And Josh Freeman showed us why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are having terrible offensive problems with a terrible decision. And Aqib Talib was there at the end of the first half, picked it off near midfield. Patriots, Gostkowski converts the 53-yard field goal right before halftime. But really what it comes down to is the Patriots defense is forcing maybe subpar quarterbacks to play like subpar quarterbacks.
You have to take it all with a grain of salt. And we keep pounding this over and over again. Look, like you said, it's E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith, and Josh Freeman. These are not exactly Super Bowl level quarterbacks. But at the same time, the schedule is the schedule, and they're playing well, and they're averaging, they're allowing an average of 11 points a game. Now, if conversely it was true that they'd be giving up big chunks of yardage and big points, we'd all be killing them for it. So I think we have to understand that, look, they're doing okay under the circumstance. I think really, and I know you want to talk about this too, and the important thing to remember is the season for them, I think really in a lot of ways starts this coming week. 3-0 is great. 3-0, they're undefeated in the division. They're one of the only 3-0 teams in the league, but they have a stretch now against Atlanta, Cincinnati, New Orleans, all of these really elite teams. Not New Orleans, not so much, but I mean really good offensive teams. And I think we're going to see the Patriots, what this team is made of going forward from this point.
Obviously, I think with the defense, it starts with the in the trenches with the defensive line. I think the defensive line has done a tremendous job both against the pass and run over the first 3 weeks. What has stuck out to you about the play of guys like Rob Ninkovich along the defensive end? He gets a 3-year extension worth $15 million. That story broke before the game. Vince looked a little bit better, and Chandler Jones again stunning a little bit on the inside with Michael Buchanan.
I love that move. I really do. I love the idea of moving Jones in there for a handful of snaps, 10 to 15 snaps a game. Buchanan, again, is a good get-you-over guy who you can work in that defensive end spot in his place. The play of the secondary over the first 3 games has really been impressive. You always talk about team defense and what they're doing, on all phases of the game, run defense, pass defense. But I really think the play of guys like Talib, Dennard slipped a little bit today. I thought he had a good start. Arrington had a good game. I thought it was really interesting. We saw a couple of times today, they played single high safety with Devin McCourty, and I thought that was a little bit of a defensive wrinkle that we may see going forward to kind of get an extra cornerback out on the field, maybe get an extra linebacker out there as well.
Obviously, part of that is you're facing Josh Freeman,
exactly.
And you had Vincent Jackson injured in this game midway through with rib injury, and they found a way to shut down Michael Williams, who looked like he was on his way to about a 15-catch, 150-yard game in the first quarter. The most important thing, though, of all, the Patriots made the adjustments, and they wind up the winners 23-3 here at Gillette Stadium. For Christopher Price, I'm Mike Petraglia, WEEI.com.